Afternoon, everybody. So this originally started off at 11 o'clock this morning, late this morning, early afternoon. We received a call here at the Inland Regional Center, 1400 block of South Waterman, of a shooting. It was quickly apparent that we had what amounted to an active shooter situation. There was a massive law enforcement response that initially was officers from our department that responded, and then very quickly, as word spread through the region, we had a massive mutual aid response from virtually every law enforcement agency in the immediate area, to include the Sheriff's Department, Colton Police Department, Fontana Police Department, the California Highway Patrol, Probation Department, Parole. A number of agencies responded. What we have so far is information that up to 3 people had entered the building and had opened fire on people inside of the building. We do have some preliminary numbers of upwards of 14 people that are dead and upwards of 14 people that are injured. We think those are pretty reliable, but keep in mind those are potentially subject to change. They are preliminary numbers. The 14 that are wounded have been taken to various area hospitals. In addition to the law enforcement response, there was a massive medical aid response from San Bernardino City Fire Department, other area fire departments, as well as the ambulance, American Medical Response. As officers initially arrived on scene, they went into the active shooter protocols, the things that we trained for. They immediately entered the building in search of the suspects. Initial information is that the suspects were potentially still inside of the building. It is a massive facility, employs several hundred people, and it's taken a long time to clear the building. In fact, I think we still have assets inside that are completing that clearing process. Information that I think is probably the most reliable at this point is that the suspects have fled, potentially in a dark-colored SUV. We do not have any identification on who those suspects are. We do not know what the motive is for the shooting at this point. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the sheriff for a couple of comments.
Thank you, Chief. We're working closely with the San Bernardino Police Department in a unified command, as well as our federal partners, to make sure that we have the resources we need to thoroughly investigate this event. Our officers are working hand in hand with members of the San Bernardino Police Department, as well as the other agencies, to search the building, as the Chief indicated. That search is still ongoing. We have also, because of the information that the suspects may have fled the area, we have also shut down and locked down the courts and the local city and county buildings in the general area around San Bernardino. We have an increased law enforcement presence at all the high-profile areas, including hospitals. We've been in contact with the school district and their school police chief to take care of the school side of things. We continue to make sure that we do everything we can to keep the public safe. We've been in contact with the Board of Supervisors. They've pledged their full support and the resources that they have to help solve this as well. We will work together to investigate this case once the scene is secure, and work hand in hand with the city of San Bernardino as we do in other high-profile events. I'll now have Dave Bowditch, Assistant Director of the FBI, say a few words.
Thank you, Sheriff. The FBI is here with our state and local partners, as well as our partners from the ATF, and we are here to essentially assure that all the wounded are extracted, and ultimately public safety is the #1 goal at this point. And we will work as a law enforcement community to assure that we have done everything we can in our power to find, locate, and apprehend these subjects. At this point, I know one of your questions is going to be, is this a terrorist incident? I will tell you right now, we do not know if this is a terrorist incident. So we start from the beginning, working with all our local partners. We take the presumption that it may be, it may not be, but we will work hand in hand with them from the beginning. If things change, we are here from the get-go, and there is no steps lost as the investigation proceeds. At this point, I'm going to turn it back over to the Chief.
So very quickly, after the initial response, we have several hundred people that were in the building that are not injured. Those people have been taken to a safe location, and they are part of the investigation. In addition to that, we know that this is a human incident and this is a tragedy. And we know we've got a lot of folks out there that are very concerned and very worried about their loved ones that may have been at that facility today. We've set up an area at the Hernandez Center at the corner of 3rd and Sierra Way here in the city of San Bernardino for family members to go for information. We will push information out to that for those family members as we can. Also, the Sheriff's Department put out the crime tip hotline number. If anybody has any information, we'd very much like to hear from you. So with that, I will take a couple of questions. Start with Rob.
Do you have any information on this event that was happening that apparently these upwards of 3 gunmen stormed into?
I don't. I've heard everything that it was a meeting to a potential like a lunch type gathering, maybe for the holidays. That's not confirmed. That is very preliminary. It's my understanding that most of the people that were wounded, most of the victims, were all centrally located in one area of the facility.
Have any weapons or body armor, anything like that, been recovered?
In terms of the employees, it's my understanding this facility has both state and county employees, as well as folks that work for a number of organizations. The Inland Regional Center serves a number of organizations that treat mental illness type issues and that sort of stuff. I don't have any idea. I know that state and local county employees work there. I do not know if any of them are the victims or who they are at this point.
Do we know if any children are among the victims?
I do not have any information that any children were involved.
Have there been any weapons recovered?
On the weapons used and the number of people involved here, given what you have in the way of evidence, witness accounts, and everything else, would you characterize this as an organized event? What were these men using and shooting at people with?
Preliminary information indicates that these are people that came prepared. That they were dressed and equipped in a way to indicate that they were prepared, and they were armed with long guns, not handguns. I do not know what type of long guns.
How were they dressed?
I don't know.
Have any of those weapons been recovered here at the scene?
We do not have any weapons recovered at this point.
What were they wearing that indicates they were prepared?
Left just a little bit. There's a shadow. Thank you.
Sorry.
Hey, Chief, can I ask for clarification? You said upwards of 14 dead. What does upwards mean, at least?
The preliminary number we have right now is that there are 14 people that are deceased, and our count is another 14 people that have been taken to various hospitals for significant injuries potentially related to gunshots. We also have a number of other people that may have had some minor types of injuries. They fell down in the course of fleeing or something of that nature, but roughly about 14 that we believe are wounded.
Have
Security
witnesses?
cameras inside the building where we might give you video evidence of what happened.
I would imagine there are, but we're not that far into the investigation yet.
Chief, we're live on KTLA. Would you mind repeating the nuts and bolts again, if you don't mind? We're live on the air right now.
The whole thing, I think, let's
Don't
take.
worry about
The building is still being searched. Is there the possibility that there are more deceased or wounded inside of that regional center?
I think that could be a possibility, yes. I don't think we're comfortable saying no at this point.
Have the bomb technicians recovered anything which is or looked like an IED inside the building?
As the teams were going through and searching for the suspects and searching for victims, there were some things in the building that were not immediately identifiable that caused them some concern. As a result of that, we do have some bomb techs that are on site that are checking some of that out. I do not know if they were brought in by the suspects. We do not know if they are bombs of any sort. Just simply things that as our teams were moving through said that needs to be looked at a little bit more closely.
No render safes at this point. They haven't taken anything apart or destroyed anything.
I don't have any information on that.
Do you have to
Have you
video
found any vehicles
Take a
in the
step to the
stakes?
left. One step to the left, please. Thank you,
Have
sir.
you found any vehicles that you believe are related to this event or left anywhere nearby?
Not that I know of at this point.
Have witnesses said the gunman said anything? Did they say anything?
We don't have anything specific from those witnesses. We're in the early stages of talking to them.
Are there any other active scenes at this point?
This is the only active scene that we're working.
What about security tape that may have been shot inside?
That is part of the investigation. I just don't have that at this point.
Can you talk about the suspect's vehicle, that darker SUV? Can you talk about that at all?
That's all we have. Very, very generic. Upwards of 3 suspects. Darker SUV that fled.
Suspects wearing camouflage type of clothes?
I've never heard camouflage.
What were they wearing?
Just to be clear, upwards of 3, does that mean there could be more than 3?
I have repeatedly been told the number is 3, but keep in mind that this is information that is flowing in as people are talking to witnesses very quickly. As we put everything together, some of this may change. We know these are fluid situations, and some of the information we put out now may change a little bit in the future.
Is there any description about these guys? Any description about these suspects?
As far as people in the area, we're doing everything we can to keep this area safe. We are addressing other facilities in the area that we think may be similar or may be similar, but we don't have any information or any credible threats to any other facilities at this point. But obviously we're all on a heightened sense of alert. We would ask the public that they be on a heightened sense of alert, that they're watching out for those things, and if they come across information, contact us and let us investigate it.
Any description of the suspects at all, sir?
I put out what I have. Just three. We don't.
Wearing masks, Chief, the gunman.
One report I heard is masks were involved, but I don't know that to be definitive at this
Do you have
point.
any active leads you're pursuing for them right now?
Yes.
Chief,
Not going to talk about it.
Did the gunman say anything at all during the attack, during the shooting?
Not that I'm aware of.
Any sort of threats made prior to this incident?
I don't. That's part of the investigation. We're not going to talk specifically about that right now.
Hey, Chief, I'm not a media person, but I'm a United States veteran, and I just want to say thank you to you, to the tele agencies, all the chiefs, all the fire chiefs, and everything for your guys' response. I appreciate that.
Thank you very
How long
much.
did the attack last? Do you have any idea how long it lasted?
A few minutes.
Yes or no?
Based on how well armed you think.
So, troubling news from Police Chief Jared Bergwan of the San Bernardino Police. The gunmen involved in this mass shooting have gotten away. The police don't have a description, except one witness described a dark SUV. The chief said that 14 people are dead, 14 people are wounded. He cautioned that that number was preliminary and could change. This was an assault on a California state office building. It occurred about 3 hours ago. 14 dead, 14 wounded, and the police chief describing a situation in which police officers went into the building, did not find the gunman. He has said that witnesses have described as many as 3 gunmen, and as the chief put it, they were dressed in military-style gear. They were equipped, as he said. They were carrying rifles, not handguns, and they have gotten away from the scene. A dragnet all over Southern California now for the people who perpetrated this attack. We're going to go back in and listen to the San Bernardino Police Chief Jared Bergwan now.
As if they were on a mission.
How long were they inside shooting?
I don't know specifically.
Any
Several
estimation?
minutes.
Several minutes?
There when the police arrived, when the initial responding officers arrived?
Well, we don't know. We did not. Our police officers have not engaged or exchanged gunfire with anybody, but we don't know if they were on scene when we arrived.
Chief, I don't know if you still covered this or not, but were the vast majority of the dead and wounded in one centralized location within the facility?
In the same general area of the facility.
Are we making an assumption, and I'm sorry if it's an assumption here, Chief, that they had targeted that particular room, those particular people?
I think we're a little too early in the investigation to even make that assumption. We don't know what the motive is at this point.
Hostages at any time? Were people tied up? Were they held in a room and told, or was it just a shootout?
We don't have any information that they took any hostages.
What kinds of weapons do you use? Or could you describe what kinds of weapons they used? I'm sorry.
Long guns is what I've been told. I think there's people that speculate what type of long guns those are, but I'm only coming. I don't want to put out a specific type of gun. I'm just going to say it was a long gun, not a handgun. They came in with a purpose. They came in with the intent to do something.
Was there any threat made to this facility prior to this incident?
I don't have specifics on that. So with that, we're gonna cut this off. We will be back every hour on the hour to provide an update. Even if we don't have anything specifically, we will come back to you every hour on the hour, at least for the next several hours, to provide an update.
At the top of the hour.
At the top of the hour is fine.
Your name, Chief?
Jared Bergwan, Burguan.
That was the police chief, San Bernardino County, Jared Bergwan. To recap, the suspects have gotten away. They do not have a description of the suspects. 14 people are dead. 14 people have been wounded.